Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, a World Alternative Media here, and do you think that people might, or some entity at least, is trying to contact us from another dimension, another galaxy, another solar system? What do you think? Make sure to comment below, because today we're going to go into some interesting new information about, well, a little thing called deep space radio. A lot of people might say that, you know, the whole universe is just made up of a frequency of vast consciousness, as you can't really completely explain consciousness as an entity or a creation of one's brain, but more possibly brains are utilized as somewhat of a radio tower that transmits and analyzes data, or consciousness for that matter, and creates that data and like a computer and translates it for our minds or for our brains, for the flesh in us. There's a lot to be said about that. I could go into it in vast quantities at another time, but I want to go into this story that I find really interesting because it kind of bridges, could space have glitches in the frequency, or possibly could there be aliens trying to contact us? There's a lot of different theories about the latest information coming out of this live science article. As it says, origin of deep space radio flash discovered, and it's unlike anything astronomers have ever seen. And as it says, things are only getting more confusing. Honolulu. Mysterious ultra-fast pinpricks of radio energy keep lighting up the night sky, and nobody knows why. A newly discovered example of this transient phenomenon has been traced to its place of origin, a nearby spiral galaxy, but it's only made things murkier for astronomers. As it continues, the problem concerns a class of blink and you'll miss them heavenly events known as fast radio bursts, FRBs. In a few thousandths of a second, these explosions produce as much energy as the sun does in nearly a century. Researchers have only known about FRBs since 2007, and they still don't have a compelling explanation regarding their source. The big question is, what can produce an FRB? Kenzie Nemo, a doctoral student at the University of Amsterdam in the Netherlands, said during a news briefing on Monday, January 6th, here at the 235th meeting of the American Astronomical Society in Honolulu, Hawaii. Scientists were given some help in 2016 when they discovered an FRB that repeated its quick pulsing radio tune in random bursts. All previous examples had been one-off events. The repeating FRBs was eventually traced back to a dwarf galaxy with a high rate of star formation 3 billion light years away, Nemo said. The galaxy contains a persistent radio source, possibly a nebula, that could explain the FRB's origin, she added. Astronomers have also managed to determine that 3 non-repeating FRBs came from distant massive galaxies with little star formations going on. This seemed to provide evidence that repeating and non-repeating FRBs arose from different types of environments, Nemo said, but the new discovery challenges this simple story. FRB 180916.J0158 plus 65, as the object is known. Very good name. That's what I'm going to name my kid, I think. Is a repeating FRB discovered by the Canadian Hydrogen Intensity Mapping Experiment Observatory, a radio telescope near Okanagan Falls in British Columbia that Nemo called the world's best FRB finding machine. Following up observations by a network of telescopes in Europe allowed the research team to produce a high-resolution image of the FRB's location. This location turned out to be a medium-sized spiral galaxy like our Milky Way that is surprisingly nearby, only 500 million light years away, making it the closest known FRB to date. The results were published yesterday, January 6th, in the journal Nature. Carrying on, it says, despite precisely locating the FRB, the team was unable to detect any radio sources in the spiral galaxy that could explain the mysterious outbursts. Even worse, this new entity seems not to fit the patterns established by previous repeating and non-repeating FRBs. And I quote, this is completely different than the host and local environments of other localized FRBs. Benito Marcote, radio astronomer at the Joint Institute for VLBI, European Research Infrastructure Consortium, and lead author of the Nature paper, said during the news briefing. The researchers hope that subsequent data might help them get a handle on what this FRB is telling them. But until then, they might have to continue scratching their heads over these puzzling phenomena. So this is a very interesting story that I wanted to kind of break down a little bit. I'm not an expert on this, but what I can say is that there are several theories that people throw out there. Are there, like, because we send, frequency into the universe, and if there were, mathematically, you'd have to suspect that there is some kind of intelligent life other than us out there somewhere. On some planet somewhere, there's lots of Goldilocks zones out of the billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of stars. It is no doubt that mathematically there should be another example of us out there. But with that said, could it be aliens sending radio signals that somehow reach us, hundreds of millions of years later after they send it? Could it be possibly rips in the space-time continuum? Could it have something to do with dark matter that we're not yet aware of? Could it be clashes of light or particles that cause a burst in frequency that people pick up as a radio signal somewhere else? Could it be that possibly there are some types of glitches in what we know as the frequency of consciousness, which a lot of people talk about, where this idea that our brains are radio antennas that receive signals, and that we are all part of the same consciousness, and that we all have our own way of analyzing, like computers, the frequency, because everything's made out of frequency, of analyzing the frequency in our own different ways, which makes us all unique. However, what's not unique is the frequency itself. Everything, even lights have frequency, all physical objects have frequency, your voice has a frequency, sound, everything does. Could it be a glitch of some kind in that frequency, or like fuzziness, for example, like you have on a TV when you turn it on analog, and you have this, fuzzy sound going on, and you see all the light on the screen, or could it just be, possibly something from another dimension? Could it be from that galaxy itself? Could it be a burst, as they mention, beams light much greater than the sun does in a century all at once in a thousandth of a second? There's a lot of theories to this. I'd like to hear what you guys think of this, and I want you guys to write below what you think of this, because it's something that's very interesting to me, and it's something I've been trying to dig into and try and understand. I've been someone that's looked deeply into ancient civilizations, as many of you know, and ancient cataclysms and ancient belief systems, ancient architecture. And I find it interesting that all these ancients seem to have this knowledge of this vast spiritual frequency-bound realm, and be able to build things so perfectly to mathematical phi and pi, like we see at the pyramids, or tune it right to certain galaxies or stars, understand timelines, understand longitude and latitude. I think there's more knowledge there than people understand or comprehend, and that is why they're still so mysterious to this day. The Egyptians and the Mayans and the Olmecs, Aztecs, Incas, and the Sumerians, and we could go on and on and on. So I want to know what you guys think below. Right below, I recently went to Turkey, thanks to an awesome donor. Because of stuff like this, I still got documentaries and breakdown reports at Göbekli Tepe, and at places like Derinkuyu that I have to post. I already posted videos on Karahan Tepe, a documentary that I did on the ground at Karahan Tepe, the sister site to Göbekli Tepe, which is actually bigger than Göbekli Tepe. So if you haven't seen that video yet, check that out, and check out our links below for all the info you need to know. I just wanted to go into this because I felt like I haven't seen a lot of people talking about this, but I think it's rather interesting news that isn't discussed enough on these kinds of channels. So let me know what you think right below. Press like on this video, share it around, and educate me, folks, because, it's a two-way street sometimes, and I always like to hear what our viewers think. With that said, YouTube's ripping us apart, as demonetized as 97% now since January of last year, as controversial content, as a CEO of YouTube says that she's hiding 70% of controversial content these days, or is hiding controversial content from 70% of people these days, hence our viewership crashing, and hence me having to sell everything I have to continue making these videos and bringing information to the public. Free information online is at risk, all while Julian Assange is in prison, Chelsea Manning's in prison for sharing information about people murdering other people, and Epstein definitely didn't kill himself, but the media definitely covered up for Epstein for many years. We need independent media now more than ever, so we need you guys to help us out in any way you can. So check those links. Go find me Patreon, Subscribestar. We do exclusive content on float.app, that's flote.app, and we are also on BitChute. So find us there, and let's continue digging deep into the mysteries of mankind, and not just mankind, the universe, because there's so much that we don't know. And I honestly think that, a big part of the point of life is a journey to figuring out what the journey of life is. I don't think we're meant to really know, but I think the journey is incredibly important, and it's intrinsic in all of us, in all of our minds, to search. And I think there's something naturally there that pushes us to look for answers to these questions. And I think we will find many of the answers, never all of them, but nonetheless, there's so much interesting stuff to dig into out there, multiple dimensions. I mean, it's just so interesting. So anyway, let us know what you think below. And until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. Like what you see here, Wham! Don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We cannot do it without you guys. Every donation is extremely, extremely appreciated, as we're getting incredibly shadow banned. We've lost 80% of our audience since January of 2019 and counting. They are ripping us apart here on YouTube, and the only thing we could do in the meantime, as we prepare for the next big step, is to ask for help from the viewers that support our free information that we try to post on a daily basis. You can also find us on Subscribestar, where just $1 a month, that's all it takes, $1 a month is all it takes to truly make a huge difference. If everyone gave $1 a month, it would change everything for independent media, and we could win this information war, and we could defeat the mainstream medias eventually. And of course, on Subscribestar, we post subscriber-only content that you'll only see on Subscribestar. So make sure to pledge there, become a patron. That makes a huge difference, guys. And also, don't forget to check out our Bitcoin address below in the comments and description, as well as on the screen for you to scan, if you please. And also, don't forget to subscribe to us on the alternatives. We will likely be deleted by YouTube in the next 2 years. It's already happening on a vast scale, so make sure to find us on float.app, that's flote.app, at Josh Sigurdson, as well as at Wham, W-A-M. Float.app is replacing every social media, and I mean, it's just incredible the opportunities it provides for not just creators, but for the average person who wants to get away from these nannies telling them what they can or cannot see. They plan to replace Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Tumblr, Reddit, and Patreon. You could subscribe to us on Float and pledge with cryptocurrency. It's really innovative. We are also on BitChute at World Alternative Media, as well as so many others, Minds, PocketNet. You can find us at World Alternative Media on Instagram. There's many options. And finally, don't forget to join us at Anarchapulco 2020, the famous event, the best liberty event known to mankind, other than perhaps Anarcho Vegas 2020. There are 2 major events coming up that we are extremely excited about, and you can use promo code WHAM, that's W-A-M, and save 10% on your tickets to these legendary conferences. There's so many amazing people speaking there. You won't want to miss it. So make sure to support in any way you can, even if it's just sharing our videos, pressing like, pressing to be notified. Anything helps, folks. You are the change you wish to see. Thanks for watching, everyone. And until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.